We are in dark times. There's a lot of bad news on a daily basis, but that does not mean that there are not good things happening. And so, Brett Ehrlich and I wanted to bring you 10 things that people are doing that give us hope in the middle of what's looking more and more like a global lockdown. And so we've got 5 each. We're going to go back and forth. We didn't plan this out in advance. Brett, would you like to go first?
Sure, why not?
Okay, what do you got?
In these trying times, there is a run on a lot of stuff. I have two of mine are about medical masks, but the first one is this is very, inside entertainment industry. But this shows The Good Doctor, Station 19, and Fox's The Resident. Since there is a shortage of masks, they have all decided to donate the prop masks that they use on the show to the
Hmm.
medical professionals who might need them.
So the prop masks are actual working masks.
Yeah, it was probably just easier to buy actual masks than get. I don't think a prop house is like, we should make is actually super realistic masks. So they just went out and buy them. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy, Station 19. At Station 19, we're lucky enough to have about 300 of the coveted N95 masks,
Hmm.
which which we donated to our local fire station. They're tremendously grateful, says Grey's Anatomy's, I forget, like someone who works on the show.
That's very
Christopher.
nice of them.
Show.
That's great. I mean, we're gonna need a lot of masks. Oh my god, I was reading some numbers for the worldwide consumption each day, and it's like tens of millions of masks consumed each day. But everybody helping out, and hopefully more and more places will be manufacturing them. I might have a little bit on that a little bit later on. For mine, we're gonna have to go to a video, Brett. So you should be able to just watch this. I don't think you need to hear it, Brett. But in Spain, there was an individual who wanted to make sure that people who were on lockdown still got exercise. So I think he's a trainer. He went up on his roof and started doing exercises that other people, like in the windows of neighboring buildings, started following along on. Here's a little bit of the video. So they're getting their squats in. Everybody doing jumping jacks and everything. I like that. That could become like a routine. Like we can still interact with each other. Just everybody stay, far away. I like that.
It's great. I like this more than I like the people playing music out their windows
Mm-hmm.
because
More interactive.
it's more interactive. It's an opt-in model. It's
Mhm.
visual largely. I
Mhm.
don't like people being like, "Hey," like these out the window. "Hey, everybody, I'm going to play some music you might or might not like. I don't care. If that's cool with you, we play some old oldies." Yeah, don't like that so much, but I absolutely do approve of this. I have some friends who are like posting their family yoga sessions or whatever they're
Hmm.
doing to stay fit.
I was
And on
thinking that mirror thing, you've probably seen the ads for. I bet that's gonna sell.
the mirror that turns on. Yeah,
Like
no,
the
I don't
mirror
think
that you
people
do
are.
the exercises in or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. In the
it's
future, when
expensive.
that's feasible, that's one of those things
Yeah.
that I see, and I'm like, that's literally from Total Recall. We need to not be at that point yet because
Yeah.
I'm
Or
not
Demolition
willing to
Man.
move to Mars. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your
All
next
right.
one?
So my next one is this amazing story about medical masks. It ends well, but essentially in the Ukraine, there were a bunch of guys who had 100,000 medical masks. I just like this story because there's some crazy stories that you get to read that end up on a good note, but along the way they're just so batty that you can't help but enjoy them and share them with your friends. So this story is from the Independent. Coronavirus. Armed robbers arrested after an attempt to steal 100,000 face masks in Ukraine.
Oh my god.
So essentially, a group wanted to sell some five guys wanted to sell 100,000 medical masks to black marketeers. And when the black marketeers showed up, they actually pretended to be police and used guns to steal the 100,000 masks for free so that they themselves could sell them. And then, so these guys who originally were going to fence these goods to the black marketeers slash armed robbers then decided, you know what I need to do is call the police. So the police actually intervened and arrested the armed robbers. And the best bit about this, and as I say, it's just like those things that you get to watch and you're like, this is insane.
Mm,
Um, Essentially, they have you can watch the Ukrainian video of the bust,
mhm,
and in that bust, you absolutely see what looks like the kind of scene of confiscating drugs. It's all these like packaged goods.
mm.
And when they open them, you expect to see like heroin fall out and marijuana fall out. But no, the police open the contraband and it's just 100,000 medical masks.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you find out later that those cops are actually CIA. They were stealing it too. That's a good story though. I like that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Uh the other side of that is that people are trying to steal masks to resell. But yes, I get that the ending is not bad.
In
Okay,
the end, the government now has 100,000 medical masks that they
exactly.
can now.
That is good. Make use of it. Okay, my next one is going to be I'm going to mention it's Bernie Sanders that did that. So Bernie Sanders sent out a campaign email asking for donations, but not for his campaign. Instead, the ad was, or the email was asking for you to split a $5 donation between 5 charities: Meals on Wheels, No Kid Hungry, Restaurant Workers Community Foundation COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund, National Domestic Workers Alliance, and One Fair Wage Emergency Fund, which is like aid for service workers, basically. And so he's using his massive email list, not in this case to raise money for himself and his campaign, but for all of these different charities that more and more people are going to be relying on, which I think is a great use of his email network.
Awesome. Someone using fundraising apparatuses for good
Instead
and
of evil for once.
instead of absolute evil. This is one of those things that like if you think about it too much, you get really sad. But in the meantime, Phil Knight, Giorgio Armani, and 17 Italian billionaires are donating more than $28 million to fight coronavirus in Italy. People like Giorgio Armani, Remo Ruffini, who's the chairman and CEO of the luxury sportswear brand Moncler, has contributed $10.9 million. The Benetton family's investment arm, like all these people who along the way have probably used like child labor and weird ways of making money, are actually giving back. And I know we shouldn't have to
Mm,
rely on billionaires to do it, but at least in these times, they're not keeping all the money for themselves. There
yeah.
are a bunch of people who are actually deciding to do well. Not just that, but also Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds gave $1 million to Canadian and American food banks,
I saw
and
that.
Eric Stone Street from Cam from Modern Family did donated a bunch of meals, like 200,000 meals, to their
Jeez.
hometowns food
Oh,
banks.
that's
So
awesome.
people are doing nice things.
That's nice. That's nice. Can I want to briefly mention, I don't want to get into a huge, I mean, it could have been a huge conversation, but like, like the celebrity singing Imagine or whatever, where it's like tone deaf and
Yeah,
the
I saw that.
celebrity.
I didn't put that in.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I get what you're saying. Like, okay, that is not the best thing in the world, but it's also not the worst thing in the world. Like,
I know.
people were attacking them so much. And it's like, here, I understand. I'm very online. We're all very online, and we're immune to that sort of thing. But some regular people are like suddenly going to be shut in, and they're not used to being very online, and they do like those celebrities, and maybe they would like to see them singing. I don't know. Like, it's not for me, but that doesn't mean it's not for anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. My next one is going to be actually here in LA. Nancy Silverton, who's a chef and the owner of Mozza, who was actually on last night's premiere episode of Top Chef. She's turned her restaurant complex into a temporary relief center for restaurant industry professionals who've been laid off or, temporarily furloughed, offering them things like food. They prepare hundreds of meals each day, and then things like diapers, Tylenol, toilet paper, those sorts of things for people in the service industry. So I kind of like this. This is a very well-known, famous chef who's using her resources to help out other people in that same industry that are not doing so well. So I like that.
Yeah. And
And of course,
similarly, all
Jose
the
Andres is also using his restaurants to feed people. That sort of goes without saying. So, but
right, and
yes,
similarly, all the people who are still patronizing their local restaurants.
yeah,
If you can, that is a good way to keep it going and to
yeah,
keep people employed. And to all the restaurants that are using the tips that go to the people who are preparing the foods to still pay the servers and bartenders and wait staff that are not able to come to work because they're not there.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is the Venice canals are clean. It's another thing that's like I'm
Yeah.
everyone's mom sending this around. Hey, did you know that like in Italy, when everyone's on lockdown, and my cousin had she lives in Phoenix, and I saw on her Instagram feed that like there's like more wildlife active because there are fewer people out. It's
Yeah.
kind of part of this is so the Venice Canal. Someone was posting photos in the Venice canals. You could see the bottom, and it just looks like
Hmm.
they show the before and after, and you can see like fish going around because there's no people polluting everything.
Yeah.
It is kind of like when you break up with an ex and you see that they're totally fine and actually healthier after, and you're like, "Oh, was I ruining everything?" But
Yeah.
still, it is
We're
nice to
dirty.
see it. Yeah, and I when I was driving to work, I could see like the mountains, and I don't know if it was because it was a particularly like post rain clear day, or because there's not as many people on the road spewing petroleum pollution into the air. But you know, it gives folks time
Yeah.
to see something cleaner and nature bounce back a little bit, but also like hopefully take time to appreciate it.
Yeah, I saw someone like about they had photos like video of a dolphin where normally you don't see dolphins. Yeah, and you know I've been seeing all the people sharing the air pollution measures like in LA are like really good. That is a gray lining that we're pointing out. It's not a justification. I don't know how it would be, but it's just, you know, it is interesting to see our effect. And also that hypothetically, like we could get that same effect by converting over cars, businesses, those sorts of things. Like we can reach that at some point, hopefully without a pandemic being necessary. Okay, my number 2 is going to be, this is sort of a weird one, but this is like my shout out to gamers in gamer life. So Razer, the company,
I
they
saw
make
this.
yeah, you did. So they make my mouse, you can't see it, and my mouse pad and other stuff too. Also, yeah, and so they make all that stuff. They are donating 1 million masks. A lot of this is about masks, really, and also converting over some of their manufacturing to make more masks. Right now, masks in general are being sold for 6 or 7 times what they were before the start of the pandemic. And I think that this is both the charity is good, but also if more companies start to convert over their facilities to making these, if that's a possibility, then that is going to be very helpful. It'll help keep them in business and provide, you know, our frontline, the people who are on the front lines of this thing with the protective equipment that they need. So I like that. Good job,
Nice.
gamers.
My number one thing that made me like fell a little bit was that grocers in one I saw was in Padstow, but it was also all over the place. There's companies that because it seems, and I know you might have seen like some random or a few stories saying that it's not exactly just the elderly population that suffers from this, but they're opening grocery stores early for elderly patrons so that folks with more fragile immune systems can get in there right after they've eaten everything, get their shopping done, get out, and then all the younger folks come in. So they set aside half an hour every day solely for shoppers who were born 1950 or before.
Oh wow.
So I
Yeah, that's
like
awesome.
that. And that stuff, it's just like, hey, back up. It's time for grandma and grandpa come in and get some ziti.
I look, I would be totally fine for the next month that being like standard practice. The first hour, 90 minutes or whatever, both because they need to be in there when we're not, and also they need the stuff more. So like if there's a rush every morning to get certain things, let the old folks get it first, honestly. Like we're going to be okay. I like that. That's good. There's a little bit of that in my number 1, which is it's several things coming from. There was an article about what they're doing in Germany, like how the community is coming together. There were a few different things there. So one was there's a hashtag that I'm going to try to pronounce, Nachbarschaftschallenge, neighborhood challenge. Social media users in Germany are calling on people to help shop or do other tasks for people nearby who are elderly or have compromised immune systems. There's a group of school children in Austria who've launched an initiative on Instagram and Twitter in which they offer to go grocery shopping for those sorts of people. And there's a website It's in German, but it's against the virus, offers a free poster in several languages that people can download and hang up in their apartment building where neighbors can let each other know who is available to help. So some of these others were like, these relatively wealthy individuals and corporations helping, but like regular people being willing to volunteer for Meals on Wheels or just go shopping for an individual. Like I saw there were cards that you could print out and say what services you're willing to provide that you could leave like on people's doors or whatever, and hopefully they'll disinfect and then look at. And so I like that we're coming together. I think that we're going to need to do that. And it's also going to give us a sense of purpose while we're kind of bored at home for a while.
Yeah. What a good thing.
What a good thing. What good people all these people are.
Us too.
Nah, we haven't done much. We're trying to entertain people, though. Keep informed a little bit to the extent that we can. So, anyway, thank you all for doing what you can to support us, too.